All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're exploring a concept that is, well, it's pretty wild and totally counterintuitive. From day one, we're basically taught that being completely selfless, endlessly helpful, and just unconditionally supportive, that's the ultimate virtue, right? But what if I told you your relentless kindness might actually be kind of toxic? What if your deep desire to help is the exact thing keeping the people around you from succeeding? Today, we're unpacking a framework from a really thought-provoking lecture that literally flips our whole understanding of support completely upside down. Okay, let's dive into this because this hits right at the core of how we manage our relationships, especially at work. I mean, think about it. You want to be the perfectly accommodating mentor. You want to clear the roadblocks for your team, swoop in to save the day when there's a crisis, and just be the ultimate nice boss. And it feels good, right? It feels like real leadership. But here's where we hit a massive wall of cognitive dissonance. What if that exact instinct to endlessly assist is actually destroying your team's potential? And here is the central punchline of this entire philosophy. If you help a subordinate more than 30%, you're not actually helping them at all. You are blocking their path. Overhelping initiates this degradation process. By swooping in and doing the heavy lifting, you're actively preventing that person from growing. You are robbing them of the friction they desperately need to develop their own skills.
Section 1. Nature's Law of 3-7. A universal rule.
So, to understand why 30% is this magic limit, we have to look at how a leader should actually divide their approach. Now, this isn't just some modern management hack. It's described in the source material as a fundamental law of nature, the law of 3-7. It's a mathematical ratio that basically governs every dynamic in our lives. So you don't just give 100% warm fuzzies. The ideal division is 30% care and genuine interest, another 30% being sharp and strict, and the remaining 40% being entirely cool-headed and objective. The absolute critical takeaway here, your emotional care and your handholding must never, ever exceed that 30% threshold. The really crucial point here is understanding the actual mechanics of the superior-subordinate relationship. I mean, why are they the subordinate? Well, because they need to learn. And why are you the superior? Because you have the ability to teach. A subordinate has to follow and learn in order to climb upward. If a superior oversympathizes and just does the work for them, it completely destroys the subordinate's path up. And here's the real warning. This failure doesn't just hurt the subordinate. That misplaced sympathy acts like a boomerang. It eventually comes right back around to cause pain and hardship for the superior who broke the rule in the first place. Section 2. Avoid dependency in personal relationships. This concept totally doesn't stop at the office door. Let's shift gears from the workplace to our deeply personal relationships. Take a highly relatable example from the lecture, trying to help a younger sibling. When you see them struggling, your natural human instinct is to save them. But look at this progression. First, your help exceeds that natural 30% boundary. At first, it seems fine. But then stage 2 kicks in. Bad habits begin to form completely invisibly. Because they aren't forced to navigate the friction themselves, stage 3 heads, and their independent judgment becomes totally clouded. Finally, time compounds these invisible errors until total dependency takes over. You haven't saved them. You've actually destroyed their ability to navigate the real world. And this brilliantly illustrates the real danger of unchecked kindness. When someone constantly hands you sweet, easy solutions, when they basically give you the candy and the chocolate, you just keep eating it because it tastes good in the moment. But eventually you become metaphorically sick. You become too heavy, too dependent, and utterly incapable of moving forward on your own 2 feet. It's toxicity, just masquerading as sweetness.
Section 3. The 4-3-3 formula. A framework for growth.
Okay, so if we know that overhelping is a trap, how are we actually supposed to grow? How do we build resilience instead of dependency? Well, the universe operates on this exact ratio for personal development. 30% of your growth comes as help from your broader environment. Another 30% comes as help from your direct connections, so the people immediately around you. But the largest slice of this pie, that rests entirely on your shoulders. 40%. You absolutely must remember this number. This is the portion of hardship and effort that you and literally only you must solve. You cannot outsource this. You can't rely on a boss, a sibling, or a best friend to do this 40% for you. It is the absolute non-negotiable prerequisite for your own evolution.
So what happens if you get lazy and try to skip your 40%? The consequences outlined here are incredibly grim. The hardships don't magically go away. They actually increase and compound over time. You start experiencing massive breakdowns in communication with the people around you. Your paths in life become completely blocked, and eventually people caught in this vicious cycle of tears and dependency become so desperate and suffocated that they blindly seek out religious groups or saviors, just desperately looking for someone else to magically fix a life they failed to take responsibility for.
Moving on to Section 4, the human era and cosmic evolution. Let's zoom out to the macro level and see how this builds. For 70% of its history, the universe operated in an era of producing flaws and contradictions. That was the era of trial, error, and generating the very problems that we face today. But the philosophy here states that we're now transitioning into the remaining 30%, what is called the human era. In this era, it's totally up to humans to use our intellect to resolve these accumulated contradictions and actually provide the answers. Bringing this big philosophy back down to earth, it basically means we have a serious responsibility. We have to study the societal contradictions and the time-wasting mistakes that our parents and predecessors created. Why? Well, so we don't repeat their exhaustive cycles of overhelping, resentment, and dependency. By stepping up, doing our 40% effort, and maintaining those 3-7 boundaries, we're actually protecting our descendants and pushing human evolution forward into a phase of real resolution. Section 5. Takeaways. Let's apply the rules. So, how do we actually apply this profound and honestly maybe a little intimidating philosophy to our daily lives? Well, here's your checklist for maintaining healthy, growth-oriented relationships. Number 1, apply the 4-3-3 rule. Keep your direct help to anyone, a colleague, a child, a friend, to a strict 30% limit. Number 2, fiercely guard your own 40%. Never, ever surrender your personal effort to someone else. Third, if you're a leader, you literally must let your subordinates experience the friction of struggle. That's where their growth lives. And finally, avoid toxic oversympathy in all your relationships. Just remember, appropriate boundaries maintain mutual respect, while broken, overly accommodating boundaries, they eventually just breed resentment and failure.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Look at the challenges in your life right now. Look at the people you manage or the family members you love. Are you genuinely securing your own 40% effort to solve your problems? Or are you sitting back, acting helpless, and just waiting for someone to hand you the chocolate? Keep that law of 3-7 in mind the next time you're tempted to do everything for someone else. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and I'll catch you on the next one.